Well, here we go again, right into week 6, getting ready for the Cowboys game. They're going to go play the Panthers. Michael, you ready to talk about this one?
I am very ready.
All right. I'm ready to watch this one. Actually, it's a pretty fun matchup. You got the Cowboys coming off that game over the Jets where they played well and things kind of went the way they were supposed to go. They weren't a complete disaster in their secondary. They ran the ball well. They played defense pretty well. The score is a little misleading, I feel like, but not to overly recap that last game. And then the Panthers coming off that game where the run game was just wild against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Enrico Dowdle just went off. So
Yeah.
that's who you're going up against this week. And I imagine they're looking to capitalize on that success. So tell me about the Cowboys' path to victory over the Panthers this coming weekend.
Yeah, I think the path to victory is staying balanced in our offense. I think that works really well. Javonte Williams is the biggest surprise in that. Just his effectiveness: 16 rushes, 135 yards, and a touchdown this last game. And then the passing offense, Dak has looked very, very good this season so far. He doesn't make tons of mistakes. In this last game, he was able to just kind of lob the ball occasionally into the end zone, which was awesome. The other thing that has really worked out well for us in that regard of staying balanced has been, as we have different wide receivers healthy, having different people be the main contributor. CeeDee Lamb's been injured. Ferguson got a lot of touches. Then everyone adjusted to him. Then Pickens started coming around. Now Pickens was getting a lot of touches, and we switched to Ryan Flournoy. There's just next man up kind of mentality has worked really well there. But I think for that to continue to work, you need the balance of the offense. So I think for us, kind of going into this next game, I would think we need to stay balanced and kind of continue to improve, kind of orchestrating and figuring out what is the right balance and how to kind of go that direction. Getting Ryan Flournoy a whole bunch more touches makes a lot of sense to me as well.
Yeah,
What do you think? Yeah.
Everyone's looking to see more. That was what I was going to ask you. Are we going to see more Ryan Flournoy this week? So I think pretty much everyone who doesn't loathe Dallas is excited to see what this guy can do and given some real chances. And while CeeDee Lamb is still missing some time, is really his big opportunity. So obviously George Pickens is going to be huge, but they do have a pretty good corner in J.C. Horn, who's probably going to mitigate a bit of his production,
I would think
as
so, yeah.
good CB1s frequently do. So this will be a good chance for him, for Jake Ferguson, I would think, and again for that run game. And to your point, if you can be balanced, it will help open everything up by being unpredictable. Now, we talked earlier in the season about the downfalls or the pitfalls of being one-dimensional. So yeah, avoiding that makes total sense to me. All right, let's flip it. What's the Panthers' path to victory, or what do the Cowboys need to really keep from happening? Is the focal point still really on like, hey, let's not give up 600 passing yards, or has it shifted a bit more after the Jets game?
I think it's more like how I would probably imagine that they would approach, or how I would probably approach it. And this is just based on the success they had against Miami, or the success areas. They only gave up, I think, 16 or 20 yards rushing on the day. I would consider trying to ride that strength to try to limit Javonte Williams. Dak really hasn't run a lot this season. He probably ran the most during the last game. So trying to stay there makes the most sense from that side. I think that they can also pay attention to the offensive side as well, but they also need to be balanced on their own offense. The Jets do. Or not the Jets. The Jets are done. The Panthers do. Hubbard doesn't look like maybe he's going to play, and the way Rico Dowdle played last week kind of, I would think, means that they don't feel the need to rush him back. So if they can keep Dowdle, I'm still scared plenty of Teteroy McMillan and Leggett as a dual threat kind of offense on the passing side, but then also having Dowdle showed really well in that last game how dangerous he is if you miss one tackle. He is that guy who can disappear and be gone. So, keeping that good balance, whether they get down by 10 or 14 points, to me wouldn't matter. You've got to stay balanced so that you can have that opportunity. So if they can pull that off, I think they'll have a shot, especially if Dallas makes the mistake, which, as we saw last night, plenty of teams can overlook another team and pay a horrible price. So Yeah, I would be if they've got a good game plan, they're ready to go. I think they'll still be a competitive game here.
Yeah, it should be. I don't think that Dallas's record has given them the even
Yeah,
potential head so far, like the potential like ego to be like, we can start looking over teams. Is like we're like
yeah,
4-1 or whatever. So I don't think that's where you're. I think you're still like in fight mode. So
yeah,
I'm not too worried about that. But you're right. If that happens, that's going to be a problem
yeah.
any week. So okay, I'm hoping that happens to the Colts. But okay. Give me your player or position group, and we've probably alluded to it some at this point, that will be really pivotal in this game. I think if this group plays well, we're almost guaranteed to win, kind of a deal.
Yeah, and well, I'll kind of preface this with the injury situation in general in Dallas, which I think is I don't want to say dire, but is definitely a major factor in these games. CeeDee Lamb, as you already pointed out, is still out. We have Deron Bland and Diggs are both dinged up at best and may not. I imagine they'll play, but they're not going to be 100%. Both of our safeties are injured, and one of them didn't practice. The other was limited practice. And then there's our offensive line, where we may not have 3 or 4 of our offensive line. In fact, I think it looks like right now we're going to miss 4 of our offensive linemen again for the second game in the season. So I would say that the young guys who came up and played the game 2 games ago, where we didn't have any of our starters really, if they can pull this off again, where they can hold that offensive line, and they did a great job of that. They got an amazing job the last time. They can do that again. They're definitely the group that is going to determine our offensive success here. So I think that they're the group that I would pick in this. Do you see it that way, or is there a different group you think will make a bigger impact?
Yeah, I mean it's easy to pick an offensive line on a lot of teams, but
Yeah,
specifically one that's had injury issues, it becomes the big question. And if they can work in spite of the things going wrong, then yeah, it doesn't necessarily lock up the game that for sure you're going to win. But if they can play respectably and just not give up 5 sacks or something like that, then it should really tip the scales in your favor. I would think so. So how far in your favor do you think the scales are tipped, or are they at all? Give me the final score prediction for this one, how it's going to turn out.
yeah. This is where I really think that that last thing about the offensive line showing up and playing well. Carolina does have some defensive prowess at getting after the quarterback a little bit. So assuming they can hold together and all of that, I don't think we've scored less than 30 points yet. Maybe one game, maybe against the Eagles. So I don't think that this defense is better than the Eagles. And so I think if the offensive line holds together, I'd put our score somewhere around 35. I have some respect for the offensive weapons that the Panthers have and the potential for them to use them. Rico Dowdle comes to mind. So I expect them to put some points on the board. I would like for us to hold them around 20 points. I think somewhere in there, 35 to 20, something like that, I think would be a good score. If we can. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see us hold them to 5 points or 6 points. Probably not 5. I'd rather not see a safety. But, somewhere in there would be phenomenal, but I expect them to score some points. So somewhere around 20 points on their side to 35 on Dallas. Do you think that's pretty close?
Some part of me thinks it might be a closer game than that, maybe just slightly. Like maybe it's just an 8 or 9, 10-point game or something like that. I do think Dallas should win this game unless they get really reckless, some bad mistakes go their way. They start playing like they're the Arizona Cardinals or something like that. Then this should go their way. Mistakes like that can tip a game real fast, real hard. It should. And it'd be interesting to see it go that way. It'd be nice for you. Well, not just for you, but I mean for your team to have a good dominant win.
Yeah.
To kind of, and that also is what propels you into the winning category. You'll be in the win. You'll be 3-2 or 3-2-1, which is fun to say. And so it would be good for the team to get that motivation. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to see that one. So
me too.
Look back at it. So all right, well, fantastic. Well, that'll wrap this one up. That's our kind of semi-deep dive into the upcoming game, Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers. Hopefully it's a good, fun game to watch. Hope everyone will join us afterwards where we talk about Dallas winning and how great it was. We appreciate anyone who's willing to like and subscribe. We love talking about Dallas and Arizona and football in general, and we hope you'll join us again. So, and a big thank you to everyone who already has done that. So I hope you all have a a great day and a fantastic week.